Okay, sorry, just getting my timer set. So, I've been thinking about what games should feel like when you play different sections of them. And I guess this revolves around a couple of different things. First off, consider in World of Warcraft you have vehicle section fights where you're driving a vehicle that has none of the regular abilities that your character has. In most role-playing games, when you're driving a vehicle, the rules for how the vehicle operate are quite different than how you operate when you're running around on the ground. Even if the vehicle you're driving in runs around like a mechton, like a giant robot. Games like Spore that have different stages, and in the different stages the gameplay is different. I think that the best way to manage it is to manage it along the lines of a game like, well, Halo really doesn't have a lot of puzzles in it, but and I had never played the Prince of Persia new version. I played the old version. That you have some aspects of the game that play in a certain way, and other aspects of the game that play in another way. I think, however, that there are some advantages to being able to have a lot of similarities between one area and the next. For instance, in Mechton, many ways you could play the large mecha as people. Just giant robot people who have giant guns and giant swords, and they just run around and fly and do other things that people could, but they're not people, they're just giants. That is kind of the way I like to run things. And then I introduce the variety in things like role-playing encounters and puzzles and other aspects like that, so you're not switching back and forth between different elements. I think WoW doesn't exactly have that. You have a lot of, like, they have the different types of quests, but it's essentially the same thing when it boils down to it. Collect something from the ground, kill something and collect it from the body, kill something, escort something from point A to point B. And that's pretty much the core elements of most of their quests. And I think that they tried to get something somewhere in where they had like some of the Twilight quests where you would have a puzzle answering quest, or the Plants vs. Zombies quest where you're planting different types of things in the ground, and that's letting you defeat the encroaching horde. But even a game like Plants vs. Zombies, which I just got, they don't have a lot of diversity in them. There's not, like, there's the mini games that are separate to it, but essentially it boils down to the same thing. You are killing zombies, or you're putting down plants to kill zombies, and I guess you'd say, well, that's the core nature of the game. But I think that ideally, well, Plants vs. Zombies is a simple Flash game, in my opinion. Well, it's not a Flash game, but it has the characteristics of a Flash game, in that you play it, it's done, it's over, it's quick. It's just like the games you play on Facebook that are blitz games. We have like a minute or something where you have gameplay. That's all they are. They don't have to have more or something extra. I think that for a game to have longevity with its players, it has to have those different elements. And break it up like a movie breaks up elements where you have portions where there's high tension, other portions that are just quiet. I think Aliens, the quote I've always liked to go back to is that the extended version of Aliens is like a long drive on a dirt road, like a long hard drive on a dirt road. It's unending and grueling, and it keeps on going and going and going, and that it has moments where it pauses and relaxes and lets the audience relax, changes their perspective, changes their aspect on things. Anyway, time's up, so more to come.